It's a battle royale between Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal and Donald Trump, who's not happy with their reporting that his transition team and his picks for various offices are in complete disarray. I don't know what else you would call it, but Donald Trump doesn't like it, and he's taken to social media to lambaste the Wall Street Journal because they're not reporting about his election 3 weeks ago. They're reporting about all of the people that are being effectively taken out in the back and shot by Donald Trump before they even take office after he's nominated them. Firings, quittings, revolving doors. We haven't even got to January 20th yet. I'm Michael Popok on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Let's talk about it. Rupert Murdoch likes to be the kingmaker. It's much, there's a reason that Succession on HBO is based on the Murdoch family. He wants to manipulate public opinion. If he goes thumbs up, it's like the emperor or whatever in Gladiator. Thumbs up, person lives. Thumbs down, he doesn't. He's going after Donald Trump, and Donald Trump doesn't like it. The Wall Street Journal, a conservative right-wing paper, business-oriented paper, but it's been reporting negatively, as has everyone else, including here on the MeidasTouch Network, about what we're observing with our own two eyes about the chaos and disarray and lunacy and farce that is the transition team's efforts. Let's start, and then I'll give you what Donald Trump is saying about Rupert Murdoch. Let's just give you the stats. Donald Trump decides with his team that it would be a good idea to avoid the confirmation normal vetting process by using the Federal Bureau of Investigation, consistent with their theory that the FBI is the deep state, it can't be trusted, it's a mole. Tulsi Gabbard, who wants to be the National Intelligence Director, I'm not sure that's happening, Tulsi, but she said 3 weeks ago, we're not going to use the FBI. We don't want a mole from the Biden administration inside of our transition team. We'll do it ourselves. We'll DIY. Like they're going to Home Depot. We'll DIY the background checks. All right. Well, how did that go? Well, let's do the numbers, the hirings, the firings, and the quittings. And we haven't even gotten to the confirmation process. Let me remind everybody, the 119th Congress hasn't even been seated yet. That's on Jan 3. The inauguration hasn't happened yet. That's on Jan 20. We're only in mid-December. And what you're normally, for those that don't follow us that closely, let me tell you what's normally supposed to happen. Like in the Clinton days or Biden days or Obama days, you announce your cabinet, 2 or 3 or 5 at a time. Clinton did it like 8 or 9 at a time. You stand together with a photo opportunity. People go look up their bios on Wiki. They're usually credible statespeople, or they have value. They've made valuable contributions to public service. It sort of makes sense if you showed it to somebody who came down off of another planet like a UFO, and you showed them the credentials and the job. They'd be like, "Yeah, I get it." That's what normally is supposed to happen. And you rarely, if ever, have a pick for a cabinet position or a federal office flame out a month before or so the inauguration. And it happens occasionally. Like you can count on half a hand how many times it's happened before. But with this transition team who decided not to vet and everything, it's happening every 12 to 18 hours. It's less than a news cycle. We have trouble keeping up with it here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. So let's start from the top. Matt Gaetz lasted 8 days, the third fastest cabinet pick. Boom. But that's an unforced error. That's an unforced error for the transition team. Matt Gaetz had a sexual predator and sex trafficking set of allegations and charges against him. They thought that was going to heal itself and get better with time. It didn't. And if you're going to create a vacuum and you're not going to do your proper FBI vetting, nature abhors a vacuum. We'll fill it. The media will fill it. We're looking at everything we can about these people to do the job that the vetting team should have done. This transition team is going to go down in history as the worst transition team ever. They don't sign their ethics obligations. They don't sign their ethics resolution plan because they don't have any plan to resolve all the ethical crises. I'm surprised they can see the Presidential Transition Committee through their ethical dilemmas and financial entanglements with the government. So they're not doing their job, right? I can't believe that was one, right? Next one, boom, fired. Donald Trump says, I'm going to pick Chad Chronister, who's a sheriff down in Hillsborough County, and also the son-in-law of Ed DeBartolo, infamous owner of the San Francisco 49ers caught in a gambling scandal and was pardoned by Donald Trump. I'm going to make him head of the Drug Enforcement Agency. He's a solid citizen. Fired. They figured out somewhere along the way that Chad Chronister was in favor of lockdowns and didn't want churches meeting during COVID for the spread of COVID. No, he's gone. Fire him too. They're only 24 hours in, and then we're not done. Hegseth, Department of Defense, New Yorker article, New York Times article. All these women who say he sexually assaulted them, that he was drunk in public, alleging that he's financial mismanagement, put 2 veterans group out of business. The multiple marriages, the cheating on his wives, the out-of-wedlock children. Was this going to get better with time? This was going to heal? No, Hegseth's going to be out. He'll probably be out by the time this hot take comes up. So you got Hegseth out. Gates is out, right? Others that they're floating, right? Other names they're floating. Chad, DEA guy, out. White House counsel, White House counsel out, right? And so, what do you have at the end of the day? You've got all of these public firings and quittings, whatever they may be. It doesn't matter. It is sheer chaos. If this is how they're running their transition team, God help us on how they're going to run the country. That's why I'm starting to have, I'm getting a little bit happy. You see this? Get a little bit enthusiastic here. Because now the hangover is over, right? After the giddiness, the headiness of winning the election. Whoa, we won the election. Let's do crazy things. It's over. Take the lampshade off your head. Okay? Whatever happens in Washington doesn't stay in Washington. It goes everywhere, including through the media. And these Jack, you know what, are going to screw this up. They are overplaying their hand. They're like the gang that can't shoot straight. And that bodes well for the future. We originally thought they're going to be very professional on the way in. This was the talking points after the election. Oh, we're in trouble. They're going to be very professional in the Trump administration. They're going to get real adults there. Susie Wiles for chief of staff. She's an adult. They learn their lesson. They're going to follow the guidebook of Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation and the America First Policy Institute. They've all been in their leadership training academies. They're ready to go on day one. Are they? Forget that narrative. That narrative is out. And let me tell you what Donald Trump is saying about his buddy, used to be his buddy, Rupert Murdoch, because he's pissed. So he says the Wall Street Journal, this is from Donald Trump, is becoming more and more obnoxious and unreadable. But of course, Donald Trump read it. Today's main headline is Trump's DEA pick pulls out in latest setback. That's Trump writing about Chad Chronister either being fired or pulling out. It really doesn't matter. With all that's happening in the world, Trump continues, this is their number one story of the day, he complained about it. As the gravity of this very important responsibility set in, I've concluded that I must respectfully withdraw from consideration. That was Chronister quitting. But Trump says, he didn't pull out, I pulled him out. Okay, we'll leave insert joke there because I did not like what he said to my pastors and other supporters. I think he's referring to the fact that he was arresting and criticizing a mega church pastor in 2020 for violating COVID-19 lockdown policies. And that led to MAGA not being happy with him. Cat food has been the same forever. It's time for cat food to move into the 21st century. That's why you've got to try Smalls. It's time to make kibble a thing of the past. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality. My cat Chanel, yes, Chanel, her favorite flavor is smooth fish, and my cat prefers Smalls way more than her previous cat food. I did a taste test. I put 2 bowls side by side, and Chanel immediately went to Smalls. Smalls was started back in 2017 by a couple of guys home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. And a few short years later, they've served millions of meals to cats across the U.S. I feel better knowing I'm feeding my cat Chanel real food, not burnt kibble. I can finally open a packet of cat food and not get nauseous. I actually recognize the ingredients in a packet of Smalls food. After making the switch to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a big deal. The team at Smalls is so confident your cat will love their product that you can try it risk-free. That means they will refund you if your cat won't eat their food. Now is the time to make the switch to Smalls. Head to smalls.com/legalaf and use promo code LegalAF at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code LegalAF for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code LegalAF for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Further, Trump went on to criticize the Journal, therefore Rupert Murdoch, by saying, why are you reporting on my latest challenge? But more importantly, what's my latest setback? I just won the presidency of the United States. They haven't written a good story about me in years. I'm not sure that's exactly true. Rupert Murdoch also owns Fox News and the Fox Media Company. And so between Gates and Hegseth and the firing at the White House counsel's office before it even started, what else can you make of this? If you could get your vote back, I think there would be a fair number of people, maybe numbering 5 million, that would say, yeah, no, this is not what I wanted. I want to retrade. Can I get my vote back? Can I make a return? No. That's the problem. You can't make a return. But look at this disastrous lack of leadership, lack of organization. But there is a silver lining, as I said in the middle of the hot take. There is a silver lining here. They can't get out of their own way. They keep stepping on their crank. They keep wrapping themselves around their axle, and whatever metaphor or analogy you want to use. That's a good thing. That means when we see executive orders, they're going to not be compliant with the law that they're based on. And we're going to have the ability to challenge it in court. I mean, get ready, everybody, because we're going to watch you think the transition team is sheer madness and anarchy? Wait till you see them in action when they take office. We as a people are going to be lurching from one constitutional crisis to another as Donald Trump does not respect the separation of powers, the balance of powers, the co-equal branches of government. He thinks the other two co-equal branches of government sit on his lap and are his lapdogs, and he's going to be testing over and over again how far he can go with presidential power, meaning lawsuits are going to be filed all the way up to the United States Supreme Court over and over and over again. His executive orders aren't going to match the laws, and therefore they're going to be illegal and unconstitutional, and so on and so on. He's going to delegate too much authority to DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk. That's going to be challenged as an improper delegation of executive power to a non-agency agency or department that hasn't been approved by Congress. You see where the lawsuits are going? This is why we formed with MeidasTouch Network, Legal AF, the YouTube channel, about a month before the election. Not necessarily to help the Democrats win. That was the byproduct. We wanted that to happen, but to be here if they didn't, and all the lawsuits that are going to be filed almost within a day or a week of Jan 20. So Donald Trump's least concern is about what Rupert Murdoch is saying today and how he's pissed off about the Journal, just like he's pissed off at times with Fox News. You think, here's another thing. He's chastising the Wall Street Journal like, don't they have anything better to write about? Don't you have anything better to do than to worry about how you're being portrayed in the press? What about making appropriate picks that are not obscenely unqualified and unfit, both by character and otherwise, for the jobs that you want to put them in? How about that? The American people expect at least that, demand at least that, including the people that voted for you. Do your job. I don't know how else to put this. And this is not the last report we're going to do on the MeidasTouch Network or Legal AF about a change in the cap. So first wave is he changes his mind, right? He's flip-flopping on all of his cabinet picks and federal officers, moving them around, firing them, making them quit, all doing that before we even get to the new Congress and the confirmation process. That's wave one. Boom. We're not done with it. Hegseth's going to be gone. I'm not sure RFK Jr. makes it even to the confirmation process. And anybody that makes it to the next level, this is like a video game from the 1980s. You get to level 2 and you get into the confirmation process. I'm not sure half of his picks make it through the confirmation process. RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services, Tulsi Gabbard, rumored to be a Russian asset for National Intelligence Director, Dr. Oz for anything. I'm not sure. So I think a lot of them get their heads lopped off at the Senate confirmation time. And the senators, having been challenged, I guess that's the right word, by Donald Trump to do their job under Article 1, to give advice and consent to confirm these picks. I think Donald Trump thought they were just going to go fishing for 10 days, give him a recess so he could make appointments without while they turn the other way. They're not doing that because they're an institution. They've been there forever. They have no term limits. They're there for 6-year periods. They don't give a crap about Donald Trump because they're going to outlive and outlast Donald Trump. And so Thune, who just became majority leader to take over for McConnell, but he takes over on Jan 3. I don't know what he promised Donald Trump. Well, don't worry, boss. We'll take a holiday for 10 days or more, and you can appoint all these crazies. That's not happening. All right? There's a 4-vote lead in the Senate, 4-seat lead in the Senate for the Republicans, and that's quickly evaporating because there are still moderates and Republicans and quote-unquote conservatives and Reagan-like Republicans in the Senate. Even though the House is a batshit crazy, the Senate is a little bit more sober about their dealings and about their legacy and about their institution. So that's what we're watching. So forget Trump. You are concerned about what we say. I know that. MeidasTouch and Popok and Cohen just ended up in the recent filing Donald Trump's lawyers did to try to get rid of his convictions, his 34 felony count convictions in New York. Second or third page, MeidasTouch in a footnote, Popok in a footnote. We joked internally that if we're not covering the news and doing commentary, we're making it. We're part of it. So don't worry about podcasts so much. Don't worry about Wall Street Journal and Fox News and Fox and Friends, where you're getting most of your cabinet from. Worry about making a transition that keeps America safe and secure. So you are ready on day one. If there's a pandemic on day one, if there's a war, an incursion on day one, or anything else, be ready. We live in trying and troubling times. I live in New York and in and around New York. Yesterday, the CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated with marked bullets with words on them showing that somebody was disgruntled about something about insurance and insurance practices. And they took out this 50-year-old chairman of United Healthcare on the streets of New York while he was heading inside to the Hilton on 6th Avenue to attend meetings, annual meetings, board meetings, and shareholder meetings for United Healthcare. This is the world that we now live in. Can't blame that on Joe Biden. Anything could happen at any moment like that. He's got to be ready. But his transition team is a joke. Now they're signing now they're getting around to sign the FBI background check agreement. You're a little late, aren't you? Continue to follow it. Legal AF. I got a new show, MeidasTouch, on MeidasTouch, called Popok Live at the intersection of law and politics. It's 8 p.m. Tuesdays, Eastern time, here on the MeidasTouch Network. Legal AF, the original brand, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m., full-length podcast there at the intersection of law and politics. Brand new channel I mentioned, Legal AF, the YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN. So until my next contribution to all things Legal AF, I'm Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.